I'm Jenny Fish from One Big Happy Yarn Company. Welcome back to our Big Check Felted Bag Knit Along. In the last episode, we knitted the big checks on the front flap, the back portion, and the body of the bag. Now we're ready to finish up the bag and knit the front section, knit the strap, and then seam it all up. Then we'll talk about finishing up with felting. If you still need supplies, check out onebighappy.com. Let's get started. Okay, so here are our stitch markers from when I finished the bottom of the bag. The front flap of the bag is done the reverse of how you had done the back of the bag. So you just go ahead and continue on following the instructions in the pattern for the size that you're making and then bind off. So I have a few stitches on this one left to bind off, but we do have a stitch support video that you can click on that'll give you more information on binding off. Okay, so basic what you do is you knit and then you pass the yarn over. So let's see, I've already knit into this one. Okay, so I'm going to knit this one and then I'm going to grab this stitch and flip it up and over, and that binds off or casts off that stitch. I tend to use those two terms interchangeably, cast off and bind off, just so that you know and you're aware when you hear that they mean the same thing. So I'm going to lift this one up and over, knit this one, lift it up and over, and one last time. Then when you get to this last one, this is what I wanted to show you, you basically can just put your yarn through the loop and pull out. This is going to be felted, so once you weave in these ends, you're good to go. Now I want to show you or talk about the strap. The small version of this project is more of a clutch and it doesn't have a strap on it. So I'll show you that here. This one has no strap. It's just, you're going to carry it. It's perfect size for my tablet, so I really like that. So I can put my tablet in here and then I can just throw it in my purse or something else. So it does not have a strap. But the medium and the large size bag do have straps. Nice, simple straps. The construction of the strap, here's the sample version I've been working on here. So you cast on 10 stitches and you are working, let me show you on this sample here. I like visuals here. Okay, so I want to show you how the strap seams into the bag and how it matches up. So over here, this is where you cast on. You're going to knit straight garter stitch, 2 strands of yarn. I keep saying that, but I want to keep that in mind. And then you're repeating so they match up. And then this portion here where you cast on gets seamed right here. And then this side of your strap seams up over here. And I'm going to show you what that looks like. It fits right along here because these are going to be taking up space right here like that. And that creates the side of your bag. And this is your front flap here. Now the middle portion of your strap, it's 145 ridges. It's super long, and that's because I made mine super long, but when it felts, it shrinks, and so you have to take that into consideration when you're knitting this, because it will be felting and shrinking. I like to go across like this, so if you want yours a little shorter, this is the section where you would do less knitting. You want to keep these to match the bag, but this is the section where you can adjust for the length of your strap if that's what you want to do. Okay, so I left, as you see, some tails on my strap, and I left these so that I can use those to seam up. But if you don't, that's fine. Just grab some more yarn from your ball to use to seam this up. I've got my bent tip needle here. I'm just going to thread that. And, whoops, I stripped it. Let's try that again. I'm going to do the little trick where you put it over the needle, hold it tight, because I split that yarn doing that. And slide it in there. Woo! Okay, I got a little nervous there for a second, but I got it. Okay, now, when you're matching these up, you want to make sure that the right side of your strap matches the right side of your bag. You don't want to flip-flop those because you want all your lines to be crisp. Okay, now here's where we put the stitch markers. The way to tell the right side is, well, number one, we put a stitch marker to indicate the right side of the fabric. But see this crisp line right here and this crisp line right there? I know that I'm on the right side of the fabric. Boom, I want my seam to be on the wrong side. So I'm going to flip this over. Everything will still match up. And then I just did a simple whip stitch. I'm bringing my needle in through here and around. And then I'm just matching these up. Now see, I have 10 ridges on here for this sample that I'm doing and 10 stitches cast on. So each ridge is going to match a stitch and it's just going to come together perfectly. So we go through here. This gets felted, so don't worry about absolutely making it look invisible or perfect or anything, because once it's felted, you're not going to see your seam at all. There might be just a little bit of a bump, but you won't see the seam. Okay, so we continue going through here. All the way across. Like I said, simple little whip stitch. The main idea is to get these fibers next to each other so they felt together. Okay, now that side's done. And then I'm going to match these up. So I have this tail here from that side there. I'm just going to use that to whip stitch that down. Yay, that one slid right through the first time. Okay, I'm going to go this way. All the way across. Let me take this out of here. Boom. Perfect. There we go. So you get the idea of how this corner is coming together. These will be seamed, and then this side, and then you'll do, now, keep in mind, you don't want this to twist when you're going to your other side. So take a moment to make sure that everything matches up and there's no twisting, and then you'll seam that side in. Just like that. And it'll come together like that. So cute. Okay, so that is how we seam up the bag. Now comes the fun part, the felting. So let's take a moment to talk about felting. Couple of different things. I felt using my front load washing machine. I have no agitator in my washing machine. What I do is I put my project in there. I have a hard rubber plastic dog toy that has little spiky things on there. I throw that in there. I threw in one of my big bath towels just to take up some of the space and provide more agitation for my project. The trick is you need hot water and agitation. And you can add a little bit of soap in there too to help with the felting process. I put my cycle on the longest cycle, which I think is like heavy soil cycle is what my machine says or something like that. I have the ability to turn the spin cycle off. I have to have at least one rinse cycle for my machine. Your machine may be different, so check what you have. This is where I'd also like to say, felting is fun, it's a mystery, it's magic, and sometimes it can come out different than you anticipated. So it's always good to have an extra hank of yarn of the same brand and the same style that you're working your project in, so you can make a few swatches. And by swatches, here's just some of the ones that I made when I first started out. This here, I was checking gauge, needle size of the squares. But here, and you can see that they came out different sizes, and this was just minor changes as I went along and I was practicing or testing, I guess you could say, testing how I wanted my final project to look. So I just wanted to give you some options here. I just wanted to let you see how things can be different and come out different. I think the consistency of it is once it's done in your machine, it's going to be soaking wet. So I put a towel on my floor, I brought it out, I put it in my tub, I laid it over the edge, let it get some of the moisture out. And then at that point, you can mold it a little bit. You have some room there and some time while it's drying to get it into the shape that you want. Now for these bags, you can put big bulky towels in there to form them to help absorb some of the water. You can take books and wrap them in plastic and then stick those in there to hold the shape. So these corners right here are boxed corners on the ones with the strap in it. And if you stick a book down in there, you can really get that crisp. And for me, I laid mine flat. I had stuck just a towel in there because I like the slouchier look. But feel free to play around with that and see what you like. And the great thing about this project too, with it being wool, if you find that you don't like this shape, you can get it wet again and reform it and let it dry again. So that's some of the things about felting. Oh, one thing I noticed when mine came out of the washing machine, it was turned inside out. And I had to flip it right side out. The way to tell from that is you want to look at this crisp line right across here. Okay, so see on the inside, we have this little gray line here and then another green line and then the gray. And that's opposite of, like, here's that crisp line. So this is the outside of the bag. This is the inside of the bag. And sometimes while it's in the machine felting, it can turn inside out. There are also other ways of felting, and you can do some research and testing on that as well. You can use a bucket and something to agitate it. But the main ingredient in the felting is the hot water and the agitation. If you have a top loader machine, it already has an agitator in there, so you don't have to add all the extra stuff like I did. It works very similar to what I said, hot water, agitation. So now we've talked about felting. I have to tell you that this project was my first felting project on purpose, and I am having so much fun. I'm felting everything. It's just been a new avenue for me to find out what all I can do on purpose to felt things. But I want to say thank you so much for joining me as we made this big check felted bag. Felting is like performing a magic trick. It doesn't have to look perfect when you finish knitting it, but once you're done, it's like a functional work of art. Remember, you can get a kit with the yarn and pattern at onebighappy.com. Be sure to hit the subscribe button below and click the bell to be notified every time we have a new video. Speaking of which, I think the next project is going to make you very happy. Happy knitting and felting!